to another edition of College Roundup. I'm your host, Jasmine Bowden.
And I'm Sade Andrews.
We have a lot of interesting stories for you today. As we round up the school year, NSU also round up the athletes. Malika Hamilton takes us inside the all-sports banquet.
Every spring, Norfolk State University puts together an event dedicated to the athletics department. This event is called the All Sports Banquet. This invitation-only banquet brings together all of the school's student athletes and the administration in the department. It begins around 6 p.m., where there are hors d'oeuvres served, mingling takes place, and interviews with select athletes. Then the evening is topped out with an exciting awards ceremony. Throughout each team, awards are given which include Most Improved Player, Most Valuable Player, and the Scholarly Awards for players with high GPAs. We got to stop and chat with senior softball player Morgan Boyd. She was more than excited after winning Female Athlete of the Year.
It's an honor. I'm so excited. That's all I got.
Other people honored at the banquet are coaches and some athletic personnel that do more than their share. Assistant to Media Relations Chandrea Lee helped out with planning this event. She believes that this is a great way to honor the athletes that work so hard throughout the year.
I think the All Sports Banquet is important because not only do we get to recognize our student athletes on the field and on the court, we also do the All Academic Team honors, and we recognize the student athletes who had the highest GPA for the season.
Okay.
The All Sports Banquet is Norfolk State's best way to celebrate its athletes. From the top performers giving it their all to the scholars who prove that being a student is actually what comes first. This is Malika Hamilton reporting live for Spartan Echo TV.
Continuing with sports, the NBA world has been put in the spotlight because of the owner of the LA Clippers is facing allegations of racism. It stems from a recording of an argument Don Sterling allegedly had with his girlfriend. The recording was posted on TMZ's website. If authentic, the remarks reflect Sterling's unhappiness with his girlfriend associating with African Americans at Clippers games. Appearing on NBC's Meet the Press, Brian Gumbel weighed in.
I'm surprised that anyone is surprised. I mean, Donald Sterling's reputation is such that one could say if you keep a vicious dog for a while and you know he's vicious, you can't be surprised when one day it bites someone. Donald Sterling's racial history is on the record. It has cost him money. It cost him his reputation long before this. And so I'm kind of amazed that anyone is surprised at this. And frankly, I'm kind of surprised that the NBA is being let off the hook on this.
The NBA says it's quickly investigating the tape's authenticity. We're going to take a break and we'll be right back with more on the College Roundup.
Welcome back. The next story will make you laugh and say "aw." A Canadian family thought they rescued a puppy that had been abandoned by a lake, but it turns out that little guy might not be a puppy at all. Cheryl Kawaji has the details.
He's right cuddled up in there.
This little fellow is now just over a week old. His eyes are still closed.
Yeah.
But he's gaining strength and weight. He was in
go.
poor shape when he was discovered abandoned near Marsh Lake over the Easter weekend.
I just defaulted to thinking it was a duck, and we needed to get it attended to because we don't have that capability. I'm not a mommy.
The family turned to Facebook to try and find a wet nurse. So for a few days, the little one had a surrogate. But then they found out the little pup, well, it isn't a pup at all. And then came questions. Just what is he?
Originally they thought it was a dog, but it wasn't a dog. Then they thought maybe it might be an otter or a marten or a number of different things, Wolverine possibly.
Officials here at the Yukon Wildlife Preserve say they're now pretty sure it's a fox. Young fox have white tips on their tail, just like this little guy. But they're waiting until he grows a bit more to say for sure that's what he is. For now, he's getting the care he needs, bottle feeding every 3 hours.
Seems like he's well hydrated and active and doesn't cry in between meals, so that means he's not hungry, so he's getting enough milk. And slowly growing. I only had him for a day and a half, and he gained 6 grams since yesterday.
Conservation officers say in this case, the mother fox was likely hit by a car and the little one was truly abandoned. But generally, they urge people not to touch wild animals.
I mean, it's that time of year. If you think you've found orphan wildlife, in most cases, mother is very close by and just waiting for you to leave. We try to tell people, please do not pick up any orphan wildlife.
As far as this guy, the future is uncertain. He'll likely live in captivity since he's now imprinted with humans. And if there's not room at the Yukon Wildlife Preserve, officials say they'll find him a home at another site. Cheryl Kawaja, CBC News, Whitehorse.
A kangaroo struggling to breathe and near death was found in a backyard swimming pool. Fortunately, wildlife authorities in Australia arrived just in time to rescue the marsupial, 7 Network's Cameron Bell reports.
The eastern grey kangaroo was found just in time. A large male had been fighting for his life for around 4 hours and had swallowed a lot of water after jumping a fence and landing in the deep end. Property owner Jenny Lowe was alerted to the emergency by her dog.
We're not sure whether it was tall enough to actually just stand up in the water, but he had his head out, but I got pretty upset because there was no way known I could have got him out on my own.
A neighbour and a wildlife expert were called to help perform the roo rescue. A restraint used to catch dogs was positioned over his head before he could be sedated.
Well, the main concern is when a kangaroo's been in the water for so long, they obviously struggle with energy and eventually he'll get tired, and the risk was that he was going to drown.
The big buck was taken to the Healesville Sanctuary suffering from hypothermia and with his nails worn down by the struggle to swim.
The challenge for the Roo's carers is that although he's big and feisty, they don't want to sedate him again because that would cause him to lose body temperature.
As he regains his strength, it's hoped that he'll be released back into the bush tomorrow. Cameron Bowe, 7 News.
A fun game of dodgeball at a Milwaukee Game Center takes an unusual turn. A woman playing the game with younger children is now facing charges. Brian Boyle explains why.
We covered the opening of Sky Zone Indoor Trampoline Park in Waukesha 6 months ago. Besides jumping around, trampoline dodgeball is a popular activity. But at a late winter birthday party, according to a criminal complaint, the dodgeball turned ugly. 27-year-old Dominique Jude, a Milwaukee mom, was hit in the face with the ball, and when her son was also hit in the face, she admits she got angry. A witness told deputies Dominique grabbed a 12-year-old boy, shouting profanities and, quote, was yelling for the other people in the dodgeball area to hit the child with dodgeballs in the face. Though she didn't want to talk on camera, Dominique tells me she did grab the boy, but said she was only asking him how he'd like it if someone hit him in the face. Dodgeball is often criticized for promoting or exemplifying bullying. But Dominique says after she was hit in the face, she wasn't bullying anyone. She was just stunned and protective of her son. She says the staff at Sky Zone didn't do enough to intervene or even stop the game when she was hurt. And while Dominique maintains it's being blown out of proportion, the district attorney this week charged her with criminal disorderly conduct.
Sky Zone officials are not commenting on the charges. Jude has no prior criminal record. She's scheduled to appear in court next month and could face up to 90 days in jail if convicted on the charges. We'll be back with more from the break.
And then from this angle, it all makes a star.
I'm a teacher. Let me tell you what I make. I make learning a privilege, not a chore.
Show up
And frustration, a tool, not an obstacle. I make working hard seem easy, and giving up impossible.
And then we're going to turn the lights and everybody look up.
I make an old subject feel like a fresh thought.
Finally won. What's your reaction? Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And unconventional methods
Okay, what else?
common.
This is their world.
Nothing.
And then they die. Go ahead, go.
I'm a teacher. I make more.
And we're back. An Oscar winner, a national championship football coach, and a country singer have joined forces to raise money for kids. Matthew McConaughey, Mark Brown, and Jack Ingram hit the red carpet in Texas Thursday to kick off their two-day event fundraiser for local charities. Chris Betts was there.
And what you learn about Austin is it's so special that when it's a good cause for kids, and it either saves these kids' lives or changes their lives. That's what tonight's about.
A Longhorn star-studded red carpet Thursday evening for the second annual MJ&M charity event. Former UT quarterback Colt McCoy, along with his brother Case, came to support the cause.
He's always giving back. I mean, he's giving back to our fans, giving back to us as players, and he gives back to the communities.
Along with national championship winning quarterback Vince Young and Friday Night Lights actor Brad Leland.
I love these people, and I love Austin, and I got a chance to come back to like my second home.
But the heart of MJ&M is the kids and the local foundations Matthew McConaughey, Mac Brown, and Jack Ingram each support.
We will go to Heart Gift, which is a cause to save kids' life.
After school curriculum, kids get to go learn exercise, nutrition on a budget, and a lot about life choices, gratitude and stuff.
After school programs for mentoring kids that want to play music.
For their second year, McConaughey tells KVUE they're hoping to top last year's nearly $1 million raised.
The wild card is we still have the big auction tonight, and you never know. People get hot in that room and somebody really wants something, or somebody's wife really wants something. Those numbers can go and the auction items can go for more than we expected.
And there's something else that makes this year so special.
It's already run a little bit smoother than it did
Things go
last
a
year.
lot smoother when one of the guys wins an Oscar. I learned that.
Is that what it is?
Well, yeah, I don't know. But
So what makes this star-studded charity work?
We all three have great respect for each other, and we like each other. We're friends, and it's fun, and we love seeing each other, and we love building this thing together.
A red carpet, an auction, and live performances, ultimately raising money for kids who need it most.
A shocking sight on California Interstate Thursday. A man climbed onto a sign planning to jump from an overpass onto Interstate 580. Several people came to the man's aid and stopped him. Kristen Ayers spoke to one of the men who stepped in to help.
The picture says it all. A suicidal person threatening to jump from an overpass onto the MacArthur Freeway while a group of Good Samaritans cling on.
I'm just looking at the traffic and having a flashback. I don't want to start crying.
Lonnie Monroe was one of those Good Samaritans. He was crossing the Ardley overpass at 580 and Fruitville when he noticed someone slip through this opening on the wrong side of the overpass.
I turned around and I said, "Young man, why are you on that side of the fence? That's dangerous. I'm over here to kill myself."
Lonnie didn't think twice. He immediately started following the would jumper standing face to face through the fencing.
You got one person right now that loves you and wants you on this side.
That's when things went from bad to worse.
When he saw down on that sign to jump, that's when my mind said, grab him, don't let him go any further. I grabbed him around his waist and I held on to him and I just talked to him.
For more than 2 hours, Lonnie and a handful of others stayed there with the individual. 580 was shut down as Lonnie told the person his own life story, the death of his mother, the loss of his stepson. At one point, another passerby brought a rope.
I rushed around, grabbed a rope, and put it around and gave it to him.
Finally, to Lonnie's relief, the police were able to escort the individual down a ladder. Would you call yourself a hero?
No. It was the worthy thing to do. That's what I was supposed to do. And I think that's what anybody in the world would do.
Lonnie says if today taught him one thing, it's this.
We have to slow down in life and get off this fast train of me, I. It's us.
President Barack Obama is hoping to put more pressure on Russia Friday. His intentions to increase sanctions are taking the spotlight during the commander-in-chief trip to Asia. Paula Sandoval reports. He's not the only head of state with tough words for Moscow.
The president's week-long four-nation trip to Asia is a balancing act. The focus has shifted from his failed global trade talks in Japan to the South Korean ferry disaster.
We join you in mourning the loss and the missing.
Also high on the list of topics, the crisis in Ukraine. Russia's defense chief escalated tensions there by ordering new military drills along its eastern border with Ukraine. The president says further sanctions against Russia are teed up and ready to go.
We'll continue to keep some arrows in our quiver in the event that we see a further deterioration of the situation over the next several days or weeks.
The president's comments come as the Ukrainian prime minister speaks out with tough talk of his own. Arseny Yatsenyuk claims Moscow wants to start a third world war, determined to occupy his country, quote, militarily and politically.
I am convinced the responsibility for Ukraine is in our hands. It is our people. This is our future and this is our struggle. In order to win, we have to fight.
Yatsenyuk is demanding Russia explain the presence of its troops in and near Ukraine. Tonight, the president heads to Malaysia, home to another developing headline, the search for the missing jetliner and the 239 vanished people on board. In Washington, I'm Polo Sandoval.
And we'll be back after this break.
So my sister and her son are stopping over this afternoon, and I wanted to surprise them with one of my favorite family recipes. Great-grandma's balsamic chicken and bacon pasta salad. My nephew John has his big 100-meter dash coming up, so this should give him lots and lots and lots of energy for the race. First, I'm going to brown the chicken and the bacon on the stove. While that cooks, I'm going to prepare the balsamic vinegar dressing and chop up some fresh basil, scallion, and tomatoes.
To prevent cross-contamination, always separate raw meats from fruits and vegetables.
This is good. Is it our family recipe?
Great-grandma Suelos. I figured John could benefit from all the pasta.
Big race tomorrow, Johnny? You know it. Gotta eat lots and lots and lots of carbs to keep my energy going.
Yep. Keep you going, all right.
A week later, John broke his personal record, running the 100-meter dash in just under 14 seconds. Unfortunately, it was in the opposite direction toward the bathrooms. Roughly 1 in 6 Americans get sick from food poisoning each year. So make food safety your new family recipe. Watch more recipes for disaster at foodsafety.gov. Learn the right steps as Maria does everything wrong.
And we're back. I'm pretty sure you have heard about the tragic South Korea sinking. So far, 185 bodies have been recovered from the wreckage of the ferry Sewol. Another 117 people are unaccounted for. As we know, most of them were teenagers on a class trip. As CNN's Paula Hancock reports, the intense mourning in Jindu has spread across the entire nation.
A silent prayer for those lost at sea. Hundreds gather in the South Korean capital to say sorry to the victims of the Sewol ferry disaster. To say sorry they couldn't save them. Yellow ribbons symbolizing solidarity are tied to the gates of the school in Ansan. More than 300 of the passengers were students here. many of them now dead or missing. Hearses carry the remains of victims for one final visit to the school before their funerals. Past a shrine at the entrance, many messages say, "Sorry, we were not there when you needed us." This is not just a country in mourning, it is a country overwhelmed with guilt. Guilt that children were left to die. This man has no connection to the school, but came to pay his respects.
I'm a father of 2 kids. I just feel that I'm really sorry about it, because I can do nothing to this family, so I just want to come here to say I'm really sorry.
Probably the entire nation is going through a period of severe depression because of this, heavy bolt, electric bolt like shock upon our psyche, and people cannot easily overcome this.
Tens of thousands of text messages are being shown at this temporary memorial near the school, just one way South Koreans are voicing their sorrow. For those who lost their children beneath the waves, the pain is raw and unbearable. For those watching the tragedy unfold, emotions spill over.
For most people, a tough day on the job means a lot of paperwork and maybe a ton of meetings. But when your job is cleaning windows 40 floors up, a bad day can take a whole new meaning. People in New Orleans called 911 after they saw 2 window washers dangling from a downtown high-rise. Mike Haas has more on the dramatic rescue.
For a window washer working 40-plus floors in the air, a pop is the worst sound ever.
I know it was something wrong. I've been doing this too long. And before we know, we passed the floor. We're in the 49th floor. Bam! The paper cut, and we went down.
Veteran window washers George Gomez and Willis Everidge clung to their broken scaffolding for nearly 10 minutes, waiting for help. Dale Muring, a contract worker working on the ground, raced up, broke a window, and with the help of New Orleans firefighters, pulled the men to safety. Were you able to grab the line and pull it up?
Yep, pulled them in, yep. Took it a nice, probably a $5,000 Persian rug, threw it over the broken glass so the guy didn't cut the ribbons and pulled them in.
When Gomez and Everidge made it to the ground, a victorious hug said it all. Thankful for all the help and for the support cable didn't give way.
I knew I was okay right then and there. I knew you were going to get me eventually, long as the cable that I was on didn't pop.
Men who are losing their hair have long known about a few options: shave it all off, wear a toupee, or get hair plugs. But that may not be known of another option that gives the illusion of regrowing hair. As Stephanie Matus reports, this solution is not without its risk.
It's just a tiny little dot that's going to go right in the scar.
The tool might look like it belongs in a tattoo parlor, but Linda McLean is a registered nurse. Today she's fixing a hair transplant scar.
You okay there, Adam?
Mm-hmm.
Adam McInerney had a hair transplant nearly 20 years ago.
Very soon afterwards, I just realized it wasn't the way I wanted to go.
Now he shaves his head and people notice his scar.
They did say, "Hey, how did you get that scar?" When people did bring it up, I felt so ashamed and embarrassed. It would just really bother me.
That's why he's trying scalp micropigmentation, basically a scalp tattoo to mask it. It's not as deep as a tattoo, so it will only last a couple years and cost $1,000. And the initial results, the dots of ink, are tough to see.
Yeah, they're so tiny.
They're very tiny,
and
they increase. Yes, but they increase in diameter in the next couple of days.
Dr. Robert Jones of McLean learned about the technique in Italy.
I've had it actually done myself.
Now I have to check out your hair.
What you're doing is just making a thinner head of hair look a little bit thicker.
He's tattooed bigger areas, creating a nearly permanent 5 o'clock shadow, but the results can be unpredictable.
The ink looks fine when they leave, and then a day or so later it'll actually bleed under the skin.
This dermatologist has other concerns.
This woman, she may have hair loss simply from a thyroid abnormality or from low iron. And I think if you just go ahead and micropigment, you may be missing a serious disease.
McInerney says he's heard it all.
There's risks in any time you do something that's, man-made.
But for him, the benefits outweigh any risks.
I made one bad decision when I was 20, and it's been a journey to try and correct that.
Stephanie Matisse, CBC News, Toronto.
New York's Cat Cafe is now open for business. It's a place where cat and coffee lovers can talk about cat health, and learn more about cat adoption with 16 of the cuddly felines. Here's a look at Thursday's opening.
Welcome to Cat Cafe by Purina One. The goal of what we're doing here is trying to start a conversation about cat health. And what better place to do that than over a cup of coffee with some friends in a cafe. We brought the first cat cafe to North America. You know, you can grab a cappuccino with a cute little cat face in it. You can come in, you can be among these happy, healthy, adoptable cats.
This is Valerie. She's been camped out on me for about an hour now, just kind of shifting positions and enjoying all of the photography.
For the adoption process, what you'd have to do is you'd have to come down here and talk to one of our adoption counselors. They'd fill out an application with you and we ask for some references, and we would approve the adoption on the same day.
People love cats. And so this is a place where you can come and sit and talk with like-minded people about cat health and be among cats.
I just wanted to look at cats. Yeah, I really like them.
We do encourage people to come over to the shelter where they can fill out an adoption application for any of our cats or dogs or puppies or kittens.
Hitting theaters this week is Cameron Diaz and The Other Woman. The late Paul Walker stars in Brick Mansions. Also, Tom Hardy is the sole screen actor in Locke. And Get Spooked by Quiet Ones. Martha Shade has the week's now showing.
I'm looking for Mark. You must be his housekeeper.
No, I'm his wife, Kate.
Cameron Diaz plays the title character in The Other Woman. She finds out her boyfriend not only has a wife, but also a second girlfriend. That's when the three hatch a plan to get back at their mutual enemy. The Other Woman is rated PG-13.
What you doing here?
Let's go! Brick Mansions stars the late Paul Walker as an undercover detective trying to infiltrate a Detroit drug lord's stronghold, the same drug lord who killed his father. Brick Mansions is rated PG-13.
What happened?
I'm not coming home.
Tom Hardy is the only character on screen in Locke. The movie explores how one decision can unravel a life. It's told through a series of phone calls during one car ride. Locke is rated R.
You're not alone, are you? There's something there with you, isn't there?
And The Quiet Ones tells the story of a professor studying paranormal activity who tries to create a ghost. During his experiments, he and his students unleash something more terrifying than they expected. The Quiet Ones is rated PG-13. For Now Showing, I'm Martha Shade.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the College Roundup. Again, I am your host, Sade Andrews.
And I'm Jasmine Bowden.
See you guys next time.